You won't be able to see it on that T-shirt.
Yes, you will.
Well, hello, you news hounds, and a warm welcome to the 10 o'clock news from the EV Café, brought to you by Geotab, My Energy, the AA, EV Civils, and Interval. I'm John Curtis, and today we've got two news hounds with us, Paul and Sam, in an offensively yellow T-shirt. So get a cuppa, buckle up for the latest in sustainability news. In a week where BEV got 110 million investment in charging infrastructure from Octopus, and the EU finally agreed to end the sale of new petrol and diesel vehicles from 2035. The new route for the EV rally was announced by Greenfleet, taking in 5 countries, and the death of the Ford Fiesta was announced, and 40-somethings went into subsequent meltdown. Speaking of meltdown, it's getting hot in here, and it ain't no good, because the combined climate pledges of countries around the world set it on course for a dangerous 2.5 degrees Celsius of warming, far higher than the 1.5 Celsius limit countries committed to in Glasgow at COP26 last year. That's the verdict of a crucial United Nations assessment of how political pledges from 193 countries that signed the historic Paris Agreement stack up together. It warns the world is on course for 2.5 degrees Celsius of warming, and that's assuming that all the plans are indeed implemented. This marks progress from where the landmark Paris Climate Accord was struck in 2015, when the world was on track for 4 Celsius of warming, but it's still far higher than the now widely accepted 1.5 degrees Celsius limit that the world needs to stick to in order to avoid the worst flooding, heat waves, droughts, and melting of ice caps, which together are threatening lives, homes, jobs, health, and food security. Thank you, Paul. The UK will, in 2 weeks' time, pass the baton to Egypt to take up the presidency of COP27, which it's hosting in November. But sadly, our Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, is rumoured to be staying away from COP27. Does this send a worrying signal to the world, Paul? What do you reckon?
I don't know that it does. I mean, gosh, he's got a lot on his plate, hasn't he? It's got quite a lot to sort out here. He hasn't been involved in the run-up. I mean, I know we should have some representation there, definitely. And I'm slightly irritated that they said that King Charles can't go because he wanted to go, and they said no. That's probably the thing that bothers me more. I don't know that Rishi Sunak is going to set any worlds alight with speeches anytime soon. I'm not sure he's quite mastered that art yet, and might do us more damage than good. But anyway, we do definitely need to sort out this climate change thing, because, as the Barbadian Prime Minister said last year at COP26, 2.5 degrees means half her country goes. So these are the realities that we've got to deal with. So we need to do something.
We've got to step up. We've got to step up fast. However, the EV world are in the good books in the automotive sector. UK car production was down 6% in September, with 63,000 vehicles rolling off factory lines. However, battery electric vehicles output was up 16.6% to 8,856 units, rounding off record the first 9 months of the year. Electric models make up a record 37% of all UK car exports in September at 18,299 units. New analysis reveals that EV exports are up 110% since 2017, with value rising sixfold to 7.9 billion coughs. That's a lot of coughs, isn't it? 7.9 billion, and it's no wonder that the government is getting behind this industry. But we need more. We need to do a great deal more, because clearly the automotive sector is still in a bit of a doldrum. Sam, you're Chief Vehicle Officer at GridServe. You must notice this kind of shift in production and in availability of vehicles.
Yeah, availability of vehicles is always a challenge for everybody at the moment. But yeah, I mean, the figures look good, don't they? I mean, the EV increase and uptake continues to run through, as it did all the way through COVID and beyond. So that's great. Although it's from a much lower baseline, so the percentages have to, we've got to take that into consideration. I mean, 37.4% of percentage of all UK exports is pretty good news. And I think another bit of news which came out, I think only just yesterday, is the is the landmark deal for the EU that's agreed 2035 cutoff for polluting cars. So whilst that perhaps isn't quite as ambitious as the UK, it's still a good sign. And I think I read somewhere someone said that the foreign car makers are eating the Europeans' lunch. So it's about time that we started to build a bit more, make a bit more, build more batteries, make more vehicles in the UK and in Europe, and to support the uptake of EVs. So that's a good shift, a good change. It's small things, but it's a positive thing. Over to your dogs, John. I think they want to speak.
I was going to say a couple of observations. Simon Brace has asked how Rishi Sunak would get to Egypt, perhaps fly, probably better not going. And Dave Campbell, you are right. The postman is getting absolutely torn to shreds by two mad cockapoos. I do apologise. Anyway, back to the news. And this is my favourite headline of the week. Beamer loves beaver. I'll explain. BMW UK and National Parks UK have announced a new 3-year partnership called Recharge in Nature that will help to make the 15 national parks even more accessible for electric cars. The partnership will also support nature restoration, biodiversity, sustainability and wellbeing projects across the parks. There will be new charging posts installed in locations that will bring benefit to visitors and local communities. There are 15 national parks in the UK spanning the length and breadth of the country. 10 in England, 3 in Wales and 2 in Scotland. And national parks cover almost 10% of England, 20% of Wales and 8% of Scotland. The partnership will also support national park nature restoration, biodiversity and wellbeing projects. Yay for BMW! What do you reckon, Paul?
Well, I'm just so thankful that there was one word missing from the script. I'm not saying it.
They are now wild in Scotland, I would like to point out. Beavers are back.
Well, yes, it wasn't. Anyway, but moving along. I think it's great news, right? You know, we all have a national park, and it's great that the BMW are supporting the UK national parks. I'm sure Kevin, our friend Kevin at National...
Okay.
No, I was just thinking of the park. I can't think of the park. Brecon Beacons. Kevin Booker, indeed, yes, of National Beacon. Oh, anyway, I give up. My brain's mush. Moving on.
Paul's not well. My second favourite headline of the week: never eat yellow paper. The AA, our partners and our long-term love interest, have launched their latest yellow paper called Alternative Fuels, Thriving in a Changing Landscape, which sets out the whole world of fleets and the ever-growing options available, including home charging, community charging, how to pay for charging, fleet servicing and maintenance. Hydrogen also gets a good mention, and a great takeaway for me was that there are over 4 million trucks and vans on UK's roads. Paul, are you responsible for this?
Only half of them.
And the AA looks after 65% of the top 20 fleets. They also have more breakdown assistance vehicles than any other similar organisation in the UK. If you want to have a look at that report, check into the EV Café on LinkedIn. Just type into the search box, EV Café. There is a link there to that report. The yellow paper is available. Subscribe today. It's good news, isn't it? A yellow paper, Sam, to go with your lovely yellow... Anyway, how long will you have to wait for a car? We spoke about this earlier, Sam touched on it. The average lead time for a new electric vehicle is 8 months. New research from electrifying.com suggests now 8 months. Is that really that bad? I remember only 3-4 years ago, we were waiting routinely 3, 4, 5, 6 months for vehicles. Anyway, customers looking to place an order in October will have to wait an average of 35 weeks for their new car, slightly up from 34 weeks since this time in August. Manufacturers have faced a surge in demand and a global shortage of semiconductors and key components. The cars facing the most dramatic increases include the big sellers from Kia and Vauxhall. The Kia e-Niro now has an average wait time of 9 months for delivery, up from 4.5 months in August. That thing is as popular as Christmas presents. Both the Vauxhall Corsa E and Mocha E waiting times have risen dramatically too, from an average of 3.4 months in August to 10 months in October. At the more luxurious end of the market, consumers would be waiting for up to 18 months for a Porsche Taycan. And I can speak personally, I didn't buy a Porsche Taycan One, because I can't afford it, and two, because I wouldn't wait 18 months. Absolutely ridiculous. Buyers looking to skip the queue can expect to pay for the privilege, and some dealers are cracking on another $7,000 on top of the retail price for Kia EV6s. So the idea is place your order now, plan, get it done early, because these things are gonna take time. Paul, lead times, are they the same in the van world as they are for cars?
Well, the lead times have been a challenge for some time, and we do expect them to continue, sadly. But the van world, there are pockets of vans that are available. So don't kind of just write them off for periods of 12 months or beyond. However, if you're a part of a specific cycle of vehicles and you want to be able to change your vehicles, you do need to be looking 12 months ahead. You know, we've heard of order books closing, basically people saying, actually, we're not taking any more orders. And the other challenge around this is that people are placing the orders and the manufacturers are cancelling them. This is serious stuff. So if you've got an extended wait for your vehicle, the order gets cancelled and you get invited to place your order again at a higher cost. How kind. We're in difficult times, and I totally get that manufacturers may need to balance the books. But I think it's the how, not the why. You know, how that is done and in collaboration with clients or not. Not always, it seems. So big challenges across the market.
Indeed. And Sam, is it affecting GridServe at all in your leasing proposition?
Well, like everybody, you know, we're struggling to find certain models of vehicles, like you've already alluded to. But yeah, the demand is huge. The demand is there. People want the vehicles. We're just trying to support them as best we can with the vehicles that are most readily available. But yeah, I mean, through no one's fault. Probably it's just not good enough. We've got to try and speed up that lead time. There's lots of carrot, lots of stick, but I think we need more stick at the moment in terms of, you know, how do we help the automotive industry? Or how do we help themselves to try and accelerate their supply of vehicles, because there is such huge demand. We can't sit on that. Not that anybody is, but if it's semiconductor resources, if it's battery resources, whatever the reasons are, as a collective climate, almost globally, I suppose we've got to get under the skin of that and understand how we accelerate it, because we know the demand is there. For electric vehicles, perhaps not.
Well, Sam, it's interesting, isn't it? The comments from was it the CEO of Citroen, I think, who I think John, about the Chinese are eating the Europeans' lunch or whatever it is. The Chinese are taking advantage of the fact that there is a shortage here in Europe, it seems, and they seem to have effectively more vehicles, and they're beginning to bring them over. It seems every other day that there is a new Chinese product hitting the market, and they're good products. And the thing about them is that they are beginning to be accepted by the market more broadly, and we are under pressure. So somebody somewhere needs to get their finger out, right?
Always.
Yeah, market forces will drive that change eventually. I think culturally, the Chinese markets don't necessarily, unless they rebrand as an MG or a Polestar, they don't necessarily land as favourably as some of the German cars, for example. But that's changing. I know, but they're not as prevalent. They don't just land in the UK and suddenly, yet exactly. But they're starting to your point. So, you know that, and the main European manufacturers have got to be noticing this and go, hang on a minute, you know, we're missing out here. So they're going to have to really push on, otherwise they'll be left behind. It will happen.
There is good news in the van sector.
Tell us.
The Iveco e-Daily goes on sale November the 1st. And as it goes on sale, it answers a number of problems around towing. It's got battery modularity. It's got, good payloads and weights up to 7 tons. It's got power takeoff, so you can power great big cranes and fridges and all other kinds of stuff. So it's going to be a really interesting option to hit the market. So November the 1st, the Iveco e-Daily. I will, of course, mention it on my LinkedIn.
Like this, and this, and this.
And this, and that.
Well, hasn't the Iveco Daily been out for several years already?
No, so that was a conversion that was done locally here in the UK. The one that is coming out now is a factory conversion or a factory created vehicle from the ground up, and answers some incredible problems that the market has been suffering from in towing and EPTO and other bits and pieces. So it's going to be a really game-changing vehicle potentially.
Okay, thank you.
Just wanted to go back to the Green Fleet EV rally, starting in Cardiff, driving to London, London to Edinburgh, Edinburgh to Belfast, Belfast to Dublin, 5 days, electric vehicles. I'm going to be there. Sam, you?
I think so. Yes, I've been offered a seat already, which is great. So hopefully that will stick. And oh yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. You know, it always is. It always demonstrates a huge amount of social media presence when we do these things, and I think it's really, really positive. So yeah, well done, Green Fleet, as always, for putting that on.
Paul, are you going in a van?
Well, if I'm going at all, I'm going in a van. Yes, for sure. I wouldn't go in a car. Let's put it like that.
Some people so sniffy. Anyway, until next Friday, goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from those two. This has been an EV Cafe production. Other sustainability news services are available, but this is just
funner. Get with the program, Sam.
Not a word. It's not a word.
Just grow up.
The EV Cafe news is regulated by Big Stuart Interval, Sparky from My Energy, Tucker from the AA, installed by EV Civils and monitored by Geotab. The news is performed by unprofessionals. Please do not try this without a safety net. Any query regarding the accuracy of the news should be addressed to the Queen of EV, Sarah Sloman, who chose to be in Cornwall rather than to be here on the news. Until next week, thank you very much and goodbye. You can talk now, Paul.
No,